about laughter and keeping our sense of humor for, everyday sorts of things. Do you think there's a place for humor in matters of serious illness or even death of a loved one? There absolutely is. Now, I'm not suggesting that people laugh their way through a funeral. That's not appropriate. However, when those little gifts of laughter come up, you have to take them and run with them, don't you? Now, by a series of circumstances, it was very unlikely, but I ended up taking care of my mom. And that's why I have such an appreciation for the work that you folks do, working in long-term care. I was a stand-up comedian in New York. My dad passed away. One day I was a stand-up comedian in New York. The next day I was a mother's caregiver. It really happened like that. But I was just going to do it for about a month. But a month turned into 6 months, turned into a year, turned into 7 years. And I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. I wouldn't. And I don't mean to whitewash or sugarcoat it. She's been gone 13 years now. But what really got us through it was her sense of humor. That and Scrabble. A lot of Scrabble. I don't know if you realize that Scrabble is an 8-letter word for no mercy. Oh, it was bloodlust. You would know your mother and daughter. When one of us is behind and starting to catch up, we go, well, I'm catching up with you. Can you feel my sweet breath on your neck? It's almost like a script. We go, yeah, I feel your breath on my neck. I feel your hot, putrid, vile, halitosis, acidosis breath on my neck. Then we became a contest to see how many adjectives we could add. One time Mom goes, yeah, I feel your breath on my neck. I feel your hot, putrid, vile, halitosis, acidosis, expialidocious breath on my neck. Oh, we cracked each other up. One time I took her down to HR block to get her taxes done. I figured it'd take about an hour. I said, well, when you're ready, call me. I'll come get you. It's about an hour later, the phone rang. I picked it up. I said, I feel your hot, putrid, vile, halitosis, acidosis, expialidocious breath on my phone. There's a little pause. The man says, yes, this is H&R Block. Your mother's ready to pick up. We're just making the call to elder services. Yes, we're reporting calling a sweet elderly woman. Expialidocious breath. Would you care to explain? She had a great sense of humor. She did. And, when my dad passed, I was living in New York. I never really heard the story. So a couple months later, I said, Mom, what happened that day? She said, well, your dad got an early morning phone call, and I went to go get him and realized he was gone. I said, oh, Mom. I said, what did you tell the people on the phone? She said, I'm so sorry. He can't come to the phone right now. Then she took a message. Well, we started laughing. I mean, we must have laughed for 30 minutes. We're slapping our thought. Do you tell him it's going to be long distance when he calls back? We laughed and laughed and laughed. I have not seen my mom laugh in 2 months. There is something very light and affirming about humor, isn't there? Now, was her grief process over? Of course not. This is her soulmate. It's 8 months shy of 50 years, for heaven's sakes. But boy, there was something good about seeing her laugh. She was able to step back from the worst day of her entire life and see a little bit of humor in it. There was something very therapeutic about it, something very healing. And since I've told my story, other people have told me their stories. I was presenting for the North Carolina Healthcare Facilities Association. And afterwards, a lady came up to me and she said, I'm a nursing home administrator. I said, okay, you're at the right conference, aren't you? She said, well, now I thought this was very cool. She got to move her mom into the nursing home where she worked, and she was able to move her office into her mother's room. Isn't that great? So she's able to spend time with her and everything. And of course, she was well aware of things that happen when people are ready to pass. A lot of times they see relatives that have already gone on and so forth. And she said she was working at her desk. She looked over at her mom, and mom just kind of looking around. So she crept over and she said, Mama, do you see Daddy? She said, I'm dying. I'm not crazy. Another lady came up to me and said that her parents were living in Florida and her dad had passed recently. I said, I'm so sorry. She said, well, they were retired. And Dad always wanted to have his ashes scattered over his favorite fishing pier. I said, well, that's really nice. She said, well, yeah. She said, we all got it on the pier. She said, my brother and our families and everything. She said, Mom had the urn, and we all said a prayer, a few words about Dad. Mom took the urn, and she said, my darling, I want you to spend all of eternity in the place you love the best. And she threw out the ashes. The wind caught them, and they landed right back in her lap. She was dancing around. Get off of me! Get off of me! But I was like, some things never